Oh, true, yeah. All right.
Moving.
Oh, this is really intimate. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the CASAcast. You are here with Peter.
John.
And we have...
Shawn.
And, so today we'll be debuting the new show, talking about why we've chosen architecture and what's kind of got us here. Essentially, the reason we're doing this, I guess, is to, just to kind of open up and make architecture more accessible to, students, and especially if you're in like first year, second year, maybe like hearing other people talk about the course will help you, with kind of how you feel about it, or how you like want to pursue it, I guess. So yeah, we'll start off with why architecture.
Why architecture?
Yeah.
Did you want to
Is it
start
Lego?
off, Shawn?
Most people say like Lego or Sims as well.
Sims, right?
Yeah, I can't relate to the Sims one, but yeah, definitely Lego.
I remember in tech when I was in Cham's class.
First year tech.
First year tech.
Yeah.
When we have to like design those bamboo chairs, they were going around. Why did you do architecture, or why are you choosing architecture? And my first response was, so I could get money and become rich. I got turned down so fast. It's like, you're in the wrong course.
Yeah, that's
I was like, I'll prove you wrong.
Oh, I found myself in like the opposite position when I had we had those like students visit a few weeks ago.
Yep.
From like who were doing like design in high school, and they're I think one of them was like, "Hey, can you get rich from architecture? Because that's my plan." And I think I asked you actually. I was like, John, how do you get rich in architecture?
I'm like, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't use the skills that you learned from architecture
to get rich. Beautiful. What a great way to start off this like transparent student podcast.
How about you, Shawn?
Yeah, Shawn, go for it.
Me?
Yeah.
Why architecture?
I think I started playing Minecraft in high school.
That was my next.
That's the holy trinity that I forgot.
Yeah.
Sims, Lego, Minecraft.
Yeah. And it was cracked, right?
Yeah.
I spent hours with my friends on multiplayer. Like before Realms was a thing. You had to set
where you have to create the servers and whatnot.
Machi servers or whatever it was that was online. You had to watch like the shittiest YouTube channels and the videos to figure it out. It took a bunch of like 14-year-olds to like 2 or 3 hours to set up a server.
Yep.
And we had the most fun in that. We made like massive castles, poured lava. We created structures. We started to have like plans and all that. So yeah.
Do you break each other's stuff?
Yeah,
of course.
We do.
Yeah, if you don't kill each other and like steal diamonds and
then
what's really play.
There's no joy.
If like a friend's busy, you'll boot up a server, destroy stuff, and like log out.
Dude,
he doesn't know.
That's rough.
It's
like, oh hey bro, you want tonight? Oh, what a coincidence.
Hey, does anyone know where my stuff went?
No. Everyone denies
not guilty.
it.
Yeah.
So that sort of led me down the path of entering a career in design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I actually forgot where that was going.
Yeah.
How about you, Peter?
So yeah, like kind of similar. Not so much Minecraft, but I was really into design. I was gonna do graphic design actually, and I think there's a few people who had a similar leaning towards like art and graphic design, stuff like that. And then either by their parents being like, it's not can't earn money doing like art, so you kind of lean into architecture. But the good thing is, at least especially in the first couple of years, you're kind of encouraged to do really experimental and like, I guess, artistically charged assignments and designs. So it's cool. I got lucky that I learned a lot of like software, for example, in high school. Like I kind of knew Photoshop and Illustrator a little bit, so that kind of helps to.
You had a head start.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It helped like push those skills into there, and like I sketch and stuff a lot, so that was cool. You sketch, right?
I sketch.
Yeah,
but like it'd be more like not buildings, everything else.
That's what I'm. Well, that's me too, man. Like, yeah.
So it just happened to be like, for me, I think architecture was like the most logical thing in terms of the skill set that I was like more attuned to. So like I like being able to create stuff, and I also like making things to like happen. Like I want something to like
Like have like a physical.
physical thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
like so that's why I like
Says the man with the two 3D printers.
Yeah, laser
over
cutter
here.
on its way.
Do you have a laser? You don't have a laser
it's
cutter.
the 3D printer is a 3-in-1. So it does dual printing, laser cutting, and CNC.
What?
Yeah.
That's like your life savings.
No, it's only an X amount. I won't disclose.
He spent the rest of it on model kits.
What? No.
Yeah,
That's only a fraction.
Model kits are actually cool for architecture. Like I find myself
They
buying like Gundam model kits and like looking at the parts and sort of being inspired for forms and stuff. And now that I've said that, I might go home and do that tonight.
I'm still like in the process of making my one that I got from Singapore.
Oh,
It's still being made.
Oh, you know what?
Master grade.
The master grade.
Sweet.
Oh,
master
yeah.
grade? Maybe. Is that no?
Master grade's
perfect grade.
master grade's
I think it's
perfect grade's like the ridiculously detailed, huge ones. Master grade's like
the one
1 to 100.
Yeah.
Still massive.
It's
Yeah,
still,
Yeah.
I'm indicating the size, like our listeners can see. But like, yeah, the other thing that's cool about like going to hobby shops and seeing that kind of stuff is that you start to see those like dioramas and things like that. It's cool to look at that for for inspo for like your own models. Not that models are as prominent as a thing as they were in like first and second year.
Yeah.
People still make them, but I guess like
They're still good.
3D printing is like really has like completely changed the game. It's
It's so much more of a convenience because like
Yeah, of
you
course.
model it on like Rhino or whatever,
yeah.
and then you just let it print, and then you continue doing your assignments, or
Yeah.
really you get to continue playing like games and whatnot.
Yeah, we had Shawn, who I'm sure some of our listeners know, one of the tutors here, co-chair of Imagine, just like does it all, was saying how like back when they were, like his generation was starting, it was like a week wait for any kind of laser cutting or if they even had 3D printing. I think they would have.
3D printing, maybe a few.
There was like one or two somewhere. Yeah, yeah.
and it took probably a week each.
Yeah, but we're lucky. We're lucky these days. It's good. Yeah.
Especially with the new makerspace and whatnot.
Yeah,
That has been,
exactly.
like,
Yeah, shout out to the makerspace. They
we
make
got here just on time.
they make.
After COVID.
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh,
perfect timing.
We got super lucky. We had that first year and then like straight into makerspace and all that stuff.
Yeah.
To
To be fair, I still wanted to be like the first.
all of our listeners, go get your badge, your 3D printing badge. Go get inducted so you don't get in trouble when you walk in there. I definitely haven't done that before.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. But yeah, the Makespace people are lovely. Yeah, they have a lot of really interesting side projects, like just fusing like laser cutting and 3D printing and stuff together, for like for architecture models. But then also just stuff like Cameron's making kind of like figurines with like like articulated figurines and stuff like that. So it's like super cool stuff happening. What do we love about the degree / I guess,
Profession.
and what I guess what we know about the profession, what little we know. That's all. Someone say something. No, okay.
Dang.
No, it's like
It's a love-hate relationship.
What's your opinion
It's tough love.
about uni?
it is. Yeah, I guess you could say it's tough love, but this year's been the most different. Well, I've had 3 very different years at uni. So first year was like more like high school. I was kind of doing the same extracurricular stuff from high school, so I was kind of used to all that, and then it was just kind of adjusting to like the new types of work that I was doing. Yeah, well, having like that long to write an essay was different. Like as opposed to high school, you kind of have to do everything within the hour, sort of thing. Yeah, but then second year I studied online, which is like a whole different, like I had a lot more time, had a different distribution of classes, so you kind of get to focus on stuff more like vigorously at once. And then third year has been a mix of like CASA stuff and having like us all just organizing different events and things like that. And I'm sure you guys have can relate to some extent.
My experience.
I was gonna say like you're packed.
I
You got
was packed.
heaps going on.
I would say so. Like
Yeah.
hobbies and whatnot. But like architecture itself, I found that first year was definitely like learning and like understanding like what is required and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Second year was like a little bit of development and like refinement,
Mm.
and then third year is when you start polishing it off.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
As you could see from like my grades.
Yeah. And in like first year, you're learning how uni works as well. Obviously, if you've done a degree before, that's different. But like, yeah, you're kind of figuring out just not how to cheat the system or anything, but you know, there's certain
leeway.
There's certain like yeah, there's like yeah, exactly, like leeway's kind of different than it is in high school, and there's certain opportunities and things that you can do that just wouldn't like fly in high school, which is yeah, it's like it's a bit of a learning curve there. But I think we're lucky at Curtin. You know, we had Jan who's studying over east at
RMIT.
RMIT, yeah. Who's saying that they kind of they do a lot more of like artistic stuff. If any of you guys know of like Bartlett Studio, for example, in the UK, they do very highly like conceptual assignments, which is ridiculously cool. Like I love to see some of that stuff realized somehow. But we basically Jan was saying how good the mix of kind of real world stuff and kind of conceptual designs that we get here. So I think we're pretty lucky to have the course that we do. It's a good way to develop like a range of skills, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, from my experience, I've speak to a few colleagues in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And well, then again, they've all graduated from uni many years ago.
Right. Yeah.
So to them, all these theoretical, conceptual projects are all pretty useless, right? To them, it's all about, can I satisfy the developer? Can I satisfy the client? Can I hit the the cost, right? Is everything going smoothly on site?
Yeah.
Did the builder fuck it up? Right? Have the consultants given us their drawings? Where the fuck are my cat drawings? Things like that, right? It's more practical.
Yeah.
It's more of a get shit done mentality.
Well, because I just visited a firm a couple of days ago, and the amount of basically the conceptual renders and stuff are just to give the client like an
idea.
Hey, do you like this? Do you want this? Everything after that is communicating to the builder, and that like builder architect relationship is stupidly important. Like
that's right.
We went to a couple of sites. We visited the builders, and you can tell. Obviously, people partner with kind of people that they can rely on, people that they sort of creatively gel with, I guess. So you have to have this like super kind of symbiotic or like synonymous relationship with the builder and the architect, and like how you're able to communicate between. And there's so much in the industry that goes into like little things like materials and what type of door and like tolerances and it's funny actually seeing stuff get built in like definitely not in a haphazard way, but it's like as architects we're on Revit and it's like this has to fit to the millimeter. And then sometimes on site, especially obviously with like more experienced builders, it's like, oh yeah, that'll do it. And it's so interesting to see that that contrast.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we'll bleep out the swearing? Harrison said to keep it loose.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
We'll find out.
It's fine. Well, you know what we do, right? We record the episode with Chris. We see how much he might be swearing. If he does, and then I reckon we'll base it on that.
He's our benchmark.
He's our benchmark, and he used to be CASA president. So there you go.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. He can. He's like fulfill. I reckon he would have had a podcast back in the day. I wouldn't put it past him.
Cool.
Like how do you guys? Because we've already kind of just touched on our own passions. Yeah. How do you guys put that into your assignment? Like how do you kind of mesh that with architecture?
Aside like from like our creative side,
anime and architecture.
Oh yeah, Jenny, like that kind of stuff.
Perfect book. Put my own passions into architecture. Yeah, I definitely like get like the styles and whatnot from anime and whatnot, and try to integrate that in my architecture. So like I'm watching an episode and like I'll go, ooh, pretty building, or like, ooh, there's pretty textures and whatnot. So like I try to implement that.
Oh, so
but
it's like super direct for you. It's like left to, it's like kind of one screen to the other.
yeah, for
Yeah.
in that aspect. But
Yeah, that's cool.
in another aspect, I think first year I did this a lot more. So using my like technical like background, because before going into like uni, I went to like TAFE and like
Yes.
because for fun.
Yeah, you did what,
Fun.
electrical.
Fun,
What did you?
okay.
Yeah, I did. So after ATAR, I had to, and not doing good in ATAR, I had to go to uni ready, and then I didn't want to start in the middle of the year for
Yeah.
architecture because that's a no go.
No, you don't. I don't have people do it.
It's
Legends.
intense. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally skipping the tutorial before like going. Like,
Yeah.
Well, some of them have like good game sense, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
game
Good game
sense.
sense. Wow.
anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I after uni ready, I was like, all right, let me do something to fill up the gap. So I was like, oh, let's do TAFE, electrical.
Mm.
It was a dual certificate for electrical and computer building.
Yeah. Yeah.
So computer building just for a lot of fun. Like even though I knew how to make it, like I had a certificate that says I could make it.
So it's official.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
official. I could
Yes.
officially almost make your computer work.
Nice.
Without almost no issues.
Yeah.
Anyways, so with electronics, I was able to do the little lights, make things like I don't think I made something spin, but like having those ideas in mind
Yeah.
when model making and like
Did you?
making it more kinetic and
I'm trying
whatnot.
to think. I know you did it in second year. You had like the kind of was it like an RGB light?
Oh
you had
yeah,
in the mod. Did you in first year as well?
I can't I think first year I might have something.
Hmm.
I can't remember because like in first and second year I found it very hard to keep up with being implementing to like to what like the brief had and
Oh,
like
right.
extra things that I wanted to add on top of the brief.
Yeah.
It was like very
Yeah.
difficult, but yeah. But it sucked too because like it was something I really wanted to do
Mm.
and like not having time for that was a bit disheartening. But
Yeah.
it was alright.
But I guess like architecture briefs can have leeway, especially in there are more regimented units and there are more kind of open to interpretation units. So with those you can my advice would be just to go ham and try. Obviously, consult with your tutor and make sure that kind of is gelling with them, and they're not going to like fail you or anything for it. But if you have some kind of concept that you want to execute that you feel like works within a slightly kind of expanded version of the brief, I go for it. Like, yeah, definitely something you should try your hand at some point.
They always tell us that uni is the time to experiment because
That's true.
this is the only time you can
That's
experiment.
true. Yeah. Well, I always every time I hear that, I just think of when I think it must have been first year when Justin was talking about like, make a building that is insulated by live pigs, but make it work. So make sure the pigs are fed. Make sure they can rest. Make sure it's like shaded. Make sure they they have room to exercise. So that's well there you go. That's architecture at uni. That's kind of the gist of like how the conceptual stuff goes. How about you, Shawn? Like, how do your passions
Mine.
align? Do they?
Yeah.
Architecture is his passion.
Exactly.
I'm a history buff, so
Mhm.
I try to include like different periods of architectural history into
That's
my
right.
projects.
That's right.
You start looking at churches, temples, old castles. You look at the floor plans, how people move in them.
Mm.
Right. You look at the columns, the grids, the structural.
It's true.
I guess system of each building. You look at French architecture, European, Japanese, Korean.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Indian, so on and so forth. But I lean more towards like European architecture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Likes his arches.
yeah. But arches, right? You have columns, the usual suspects, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I try to sort of collage them into my projects whenever I design something.
Yeah.
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 Circulation matters as well.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can tell like your designs are always really well ordered. I think like there's always a very
Yeah, no curves.
It's not even that. It's like you can have ordered curves, but it's just like in the sense that everything is kind of programmed well and
It's very logical.
yeah, it makes
Too
sense
logical.
as opposed
Too
to
logical.
Too logical. Yeah.
not necessarily. I mean,
That's my
Your main
opinion.
critique?
Yeah, my main critique.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's too logical.
right.
I need to break that barrier in order to create
You have
something
one
new.
design project left in bachelor's. I reckon you throw some pigs on the outside.
Yeah, I should
Um,
make that bacon.
yeah, yeah. I guess
It'd be funny if it like turns out really well, and then like Shawn just becomes like the next big
the
thing.
goat,
Next
the
big
goat.
thing.
Yeah, he gets published in like every architecture magazine.
Like, why haven't we done this before?
Yeah,
He's a genius.
this student project changed the architectural landscape. Yeah,
we start.
That'd be
pages.
nice.
it's a
Yeah.
clickbait YouTube
Yeah,
title if
yeah.
I've ever heard
The
one.
start of Attack on Titan. That's for sure.
Huh?
Implementing like flesh into like walls and whatnot.
Dude, that's not ethical. You can't do that.
But pigs and walls is okay.
I didn't say staple them to.
Well,
This is horrible.
They're still alive.
The thing is, unless you're vegan, that's fine. Right?
Yeah.
You're gonna eat them afterwards.
No, what I'm saying, like, just have pigs can be on the outside. Just make it, have like some circulation space. Have places where they can feed and drink water. Make sure it's shaded properly.
Yeah, the Titans have that too.
Beautiful. Have you seen the episode of Rick
Right,
Rick and Morty where the
the tower,
the Citadel,
right,
and it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
got Morty's
Morty
Morty cladding.
waves. Yeah.
Yeah, adaptive facade.
They grow over time.
As for myself, like I mentioned, I sketch and stuff. At one point, this was over summer. I tried designing, and I didn't make it past like the sketch phase or anything, but I tried designing a museum or like exhibition center using like Gundam designs.
Oh,
So like the
that's
kind of
hot, yeah.
so like the kind of the forms and stuff would inspire how how the space was like programmed and like the different but it would have to, I mean, not necessarily, but it would pretty much just be a lot of kind of bespoke stuff, which would just take forever to model. So yeah, I didn't really get around to it, but so a project I'd like to pick up. I know in first year I got fairly experimental with like graphics, graphic styles, and like I went for this very kind of pop sort of, I guess, kind of manga looking aesthetic with my case study building, and like doing collages and stuff, and just incorporating like different artists that I liked. Like I read, I love comics and stuff, so a lot of that style helps. I'm sure like subconsciously kind of informs how I present a lot of my assignments, but it can take time to execute that sort of stuff. So I to be honest, I don't always manage to get around to it. And time management is a doozy.
It's super important.
Is a doozy. That's
And you just go with it. Free flow.
free flow.
If you have
Improv.
if you have 24 hours before your submission, you have enough time.
Oh, jeez.
That's rough. But I have to say, I can relate. At some points, I can relate. Oh yeah, so like if not architecture, where could you take your
Degree.
skill? Well, yeah, your
Right.
degree and your other skills that you might have. Like, what could you?
Project management.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
YouTube, streaming.
true. Like tutorials and stuff. Yeah, you could.
Oh
you could-
yeah,
you
no,
could
I
get
was
into
just
that.
gonna say play Valorant, but
Oh,
yeah,
true.
yeah.
That may or may not be a skill that you develop in architecture.
I didn't know you could be.
Yeah, you could present it well.
You could be a level designer, right? Yeah.
Shoot, maybe.
If they do want you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If things don't work out, I'm just gonna go submit my comic art portfolio. I actually do have a project that I'm all kind of on and off working on with a friend. They're like just short stories, but he's writing them kind of novel style, so it's not like a graphic novel or anything. It's not a comic, but they're just about some like cyberpunk samurai fellow. I have to differentiate it from Samurai Jack, or else the The feds are coming for me.
Yeah.
So
It depends. How long was it ago? Samurai.
what is it like 100? It's like 100.
Yeah,
years that you have
100
to-
years, and then like. But then again,
I've got like another 80 to wait. So
but then again, like what Mickey Mouse? Disney is gonna try and like keep, or was it Winnie the Pooh?
What?
One of them was like reaching their like 100 years.
it's Mickey.
Mickey.
Was it Mickey?
Mickey for sure.
Yeah, dude.
I know.
Yeah, Mickey's reaching, if not already.
Yeah. So like, but like they still have it.
But can't they can you renew?
I don't think it's a renew thing.
They have to make it again.
They're bending, like literally bending the like
Bro,
rules just
Wait,
to be like.
give it a few years. We're gonna have some dude named like who looks a little bit suspicious like Mickey Mouse named like Michael or something.
So you can't
Michael Mouse.
copyright the same thing twice.
I don't think so.
Jesus.
Can you?
Because I was watching this one video once where like they were talking about how Winnie the Pooh was about to reach their like 100-year limit, and then like they're gonna start to like make like parodies and whatnot of Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
So like they were gonna make a horror movie like Freddy like what was it called? What's that game? Five Nights at Freddy's. Like
Freddy's,
that,
yeah.
but like with Winnie the Pooh. That type of horror movie.
scary.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't that come out?
Oh, so it did happen.
I think so.
Okay, then.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it just kind of came and went. I didn't hear anything about it. I saw like maybe a couple posts or something. So it says here there's just these like first couple sources on Google. One is saying that it cannot be renewed. One is saying that most will expire. If anyone can get around that, it's Disney.
It's Disney.
Yeah.
So we'll, Mickey will be haunting us for years to come. I'm sure.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's making money.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a pair of like the ears?
No, I do not.
Surely, I reckon you would somewhere.
I would have if I went to Disneyland.
Oh,
Where's
don't.
Disneyland?
Come on.
Years ago.
We took you to Universal. That's way better.
You took me to
I
Universal.
took you to Universal. It's way better. You took me basically.
It was fun.
You like paid for all my stuff. I paid you back probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was even trade.
Yeah.
I had someone to go with me. Peter was able to afford stuff.
Exactly.
Even trade. But I will be going back to Japan just for Disneyland.
Yes. That's another thing. If for the students in like first, second year, if you guys have any trips they are presented with, do it.
Take it,
please.
Take it. Yeah.
If you if you can, I know like financially it's not always a viable option, but like the more you can see, the better, the more the benefit. And not just architecture wise, just personally. Like it's good to get out there.
How I think of it is you could always earn money, but experiences are limited.
Do you work for Disney?
Huh? What?
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, we can't end it like that.
Really?
We can't end it with money.
No.
That's
Follow.
the last thing
That was
on the agenda.
I think that was the first thing we talked about.
Really?
last thing on the agenda. Oh, we kind of jumped around. Yeah, it was like what got you into architecture.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't touched on how to stay motivated.
Shawn, that this is your alley.
My answer?
How to stay motivated.
I don't know when you do the final pin up for studio and the design-ish units, right? The ones that have a bit more design.
Yeah.
You sort of look at it and you're like, wow, I kind of like what I did. It's going to look hot in my portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this shit is busting. Yeah.
That's the satisfaction.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
the
it's just
satisfaction.
2 minutes when you're pinned up. And you're like, damn,
like,
this is
it's
cool.
like 2 minutes of like
That's
pure, right?
That's getting bleeped. That's getting bleeped. The other stuff we can pass, maybe.
Yeah, you look up and you're like, oh shit, I made this. Like, damn,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had that sensation for a while, so
Okay.
but definitely the grind is on this
Yeah.
semester. That's not true. Yeah.
The
it
only
doesn't matter.
purpose is to make stuff that looks good and makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get a
And
Get a
just,
bit creative
just imagine, let's say I was a director of a firm. If I looked at your stuff, would I hire you? Right? That's the sort of
that is true.
perspective that I have for projects.
A bimpanzee, as you say.
That's right.
A
That's right,
bimpanzee.
yeah.
Do you guys remember a few days ago? Oh, Shawn, you were in the class. We had a presentation, and someone asked like a tough question, and they passed it around. They passed the microphone around all 5 people.
Yeah.
The 5th person can go. Just goes next question. That's how I feel right now. Yeah. No, it's like Shawn said, you stay motivated just by thinking about like that kind of final outcome. And obviously the process is important. It's like, you know, you're learning along the way, but having a project that feels cohesive and that represents the time you put into it is super satisfying.
It's a bit like research, right? You know, writing an essay for the theories unit, right? You have your research, your question, your answer, all of it, and you need a conclusion that sort of ties back to the entire essay.
Right.
So the entire project or essay should read as a closed loop. You have a start, a beginning, and the end ties back to the beginning.
That's true. Yeah. So you're kind of
like,
storytelling through.
I'm not roasting anyone, but from my opinion, I've seen a few projects. They're like, oh, here's my building. I made it for my client. Here's where they, you know, sleep, eat shit, whatever. Yeah, and they say, oh, that's it. You know, I made a nice functional box, and there you go. That's my project. Yeah.
I love some functional boxes, but
like the thing is, you don't explain why you did it that way. What justifies your design? You have to do it. Otherwise, you're no different from a builder, right?
That is true. Yeah. And the thing is,
a builder can make a box as well.
Yeah. The thing is with, you know, with like tutors, for example, because, you know, architecture is less subjective than something like, you know, fine art or whatever it might be, but there is still an element of, you know, subjectivity to it. So the way to kind of get around that is really to just show your process and kind of make yourself like the protagonist, I guess. You know, make it your story of how you're thinking and what you kind of what was going through your mind when designing, and kind of the more you communicate the process, I think the more kind of objectively successful your assignments will be.
Tutors are pretty much like your clients, right?
Yes.
They'll ask you questions like, oh, so why did you, you know, reduce the amount of units in my development and did that instead? Is there a reason for that? You know, I'm earning less money, or I'll lose profit, right? And you have to justify a good reason for doing so.
The biggest tool that you could have when doing your assignments is being able to ask yourself why.
Yeah, so you know, you have your final pinup, the PDF is all there on the desktop. I think the best way to do it is step in the shoes of your tutor, right? Look at it and ask yourself, why this, why that? Can you plug the gaps, right? You know, imagine if your boat is leaking, can you give the right answers to sort of make them shut up and think that, okay, that's a good answer. I like your thinking. You make sense. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I approve.
Yeah, and the stuff that you may not have considered usually gets like comes to mind when you're presenting it. You get like a tough question. It's like, and you kind of just know because you sat with the design for so long. I had one more thing.
Okay.
I had one more thing. I was just gonna ask how, and I think we'll expand on this in future episodes. But just as an end credit scene, how do you guys ideate? What's your ideation process?
For
simplify
design?
it. Yeah, for design. Sorry.
I have many ways. Several ways to do it.
I think that saying of form over function or function over form really comes into mind when you talk about ideation. You have form over function where you come up with a crazy form and you try to stuff the program in there. That's not going to work, right? Yes. You can try, but your result is going to be pretty shit. You look at it and you're like, oh fuck, what have I done? Yeah. Always start with function over form, right? The first thing that comes to mind is projects by Bjarke Ingels. You know, he has amazing form, right? His renders are expressive. You have these extremely expressive buildings.
Yeah.
But you do notice that he doesn't show floor plans or sections. Yeah, it's a bit sneaky like that.
Yes.
Yeah. You look at his website, like Big DK, right? It's amazing stuff.
Best URL of all time.
And if you look at his projects, no sections, no plans. Some do, right?
Yeah,
but most of them don't. So
yeah,
that's a bit sus.
Yeah, they are usually just like boxes, kind of repeated over.
So that's form over function.
For sure.
Function over form starts with, you know, the brief, the program. What does the developer or tutor want, you know, for a building? You have to satisfy these things. You know, in studio you don't have to do it, but you know, setbacks, zoning laws, right? How high, how wide can you build?
Yes.
Floor area, all that comes into mind, and you start, you know, drawing out the floor area for each room or area that they need. For example, living room or common hallway. 10 meters square, you draw that out into scale and you start like shifting these boxes around, and you see how it all fits together. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You don't want to have a bathroom like in the middle of a common area. That's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
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 So you try, again, like what Vuk said in class, right? You test these relationships between spaces. That's
Yeah.
pretty much a bubble diagram.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they teach you that in first year. Do they?
Maybe I think more in second year residential.
Yeah, bubble diagrams.
Yeah.
These are,
You kind of just get exposed to it.
yeah,
That's true.
bubble
Yeah,
diagrams
you see it as
are like the most foolproof manner or method to
Yeah.
use. Yeah, you can't fuck it up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, John?
What's the question again?
Ideation.
How do you ideate?
Oh,
Yeah.
ideation. I was gonna say there's like several ways that students can find out like how they could ideate. So I think I experimented throughout the years with like sketching, modeling until like something sticks, and you just keep doing that until like eventually you come up with like this form, and like kind of image to where like your function also like
Yeah.
gets like it works well.
Yeah.
Pinterest and
Oh, yeah.
definitely
Oh, that's
Yeah.
was a big one,
Yeah.
but like more recently it's like the journey and
True,
Mm.
true. And we'll have to we'll save AI for
Yeah,
its own
AI
episode.
is
'Cause that's a
whole
So,
nother thing.
Again, that's
Yeah.
where my concern kicks in, right? Form over function, right?
true.
Do you design to make it look good from the outside, but if you go in, you're like, I don't want to live here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you definitely need to find a
Yeah,
balance.
that's how I test my designs as well. I
Yeah.
come up with a planner section, I ask myself, do I want to live there? Do I want to use the building? Do I want to even be near it? If my answer is no, I scrap that and do it again.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that kind of like ties into how I ideate, which is pretty. I mean, yeah, like I've tried the modeling and diagramming, but I find that sketching helps me understand it just as well, and it's a much quicker process for me to sort of overlay sheets and say kind of align drawings, plan quickly, extrude it into an elevation. How does that feel? And let's say I've got kind of a 3D or like axonometric sort of bubble diagram. If I throw some cladding on there, like as you said, it's kind of testing how does this make me feel?
Yeah.
Does it make does it fit into the site, for example? Is it a place I'd like to visit? Is it a place I want to see realized? Right. So yeah, that's I guess sketching is definitely a friend. Get some like colored markers. Go crazy. Make it look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know how I go on about sketching is bad and how I should use digital programs a bit more.
Yes.
Right, sketching is good for the initial phases to
Of
get an
course.
idea of how the form or space should look like.
Yes.
Once that sort of settled, you should jump straight into Rhino or Revit or whatever it is you use to get a sense of scale. Right, extrude it. Have some masses going on, so
Yeah.
you know how it sits on site.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should. I need to get a bit more disciplined at
Yeah.
that because I sketch to scale, which is not quite the same, obviously, because Rhino you can view it differently and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
so many
but
angles. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But I think we can probably leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That concludes
That
our
concludes
Awesome.
episode, our pilot.
a pilot. I
Tune in
reckon.
next time for a special guest.
Tune in next time.
Yeah.
Exactly. For special guest, auteur, Midjourney champion, YouTube champion,
Tutor champion.
tutor champion, Cat Cafe champion, Chris Mewburn. Hopefully,
Hopefully,
if he wants to,
Yeah,
if he accepts the offer,
Will he hear this? Will he listen in?
surely he has
Yeah.
to. I reckon.
Okay.
I reckon he'd be keen to hear it.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will he approve of your swearing? That is to be concluded, or to be.
You have like the official release and the director's cut afterwards.
Yeah. PG-13,
Yeah.
wider
PG-13.
audience, more profits.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, we could do like Patreon, like extra $5 to hear like.
That's right. Join us on Patreon. This was sponsored by Raycon. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Take care. Have a good day or night, and we will hear from you next time. Feel free to follow us on CASA.curtain. Recommend episodes. Ask if you'd like to be in an episode. DM us. Let us know. And thank you guys for joining me. And
Joining us. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Cool.
beautiful.
Cool,
Take
cool.
care.
Bye.